Welcome, friends, it's the MovieFilm Podcast. MovieFilm Podcast, enjoy the show. Zaki, Sean, and Ryan are talking about movies. MovieFilm Podcast on the radio.
Welcome to MovieFilm. This is episode 9, brought to you by Mr. Boy Productions. My name is Zaki Hassan. I'm joined, as always, by my colleagues Brian Hall.
I just took a bite out of a Kit Kat.
And Sean Coyle.
Sup?
What's going on, fellas? It's been a few weeks. What's new and exciting?
I'm still eating Halloween candy.
I can hear.
Yeah.
Yes, we took the boys trick or treating a few weeks. It was the first time. First and last time. Yeah, we took them trick-or-treating, and I was actually a good parent because I took their candy away, and I said, we're not going to eat this right now, we're going to eat it later. And we actually went trick-or-treating with his cousin, so somehow, with their cousins, so they somehow got a hold of some of the candy.
Yeah. And
so that little did we know, so that night, our middle one, he tends to sort of wander into our room in the middle of the night. From his room, and so I'm sleeping, and I just in the middle of the night I hear my wife screaming, "Ah! Ah! Ah!" and I wake up and I turn over, and there's our 3-year-old is kind of like on top of her, and he just kind of lifted his head up and just splorched all over her.
Oh,
so she was just covered in vomit. She was screaming like the movie executive in the Godfather, when he finds the horse. So I did what any husband should do. I put my earbuds in and I turned up the volume and went back to sleep. Anything else would have been uncivilized. No, I helped. I was helping her clean up, and it was just a total chaos and pandemonium. And then our 5-year-old, this is true, I'm not making this up, 5-year-old walks in. He's woken up by the noise, walks into our room, smells the vomit, and then he himself throws up.
No.
Yeah. So, it was like that, there's that Family Guy when they're all drinking the Ipecac.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And who wants chowder? That's what was happening. That's what was happening in our house, so that wasn't fun. So, first and last time trick-or-treating.
Halloween.
What else is going on?
Because of a bit of a scheduling snafu for the audience, we are recording this episode a day earlier than we normally do. Before all three of us have gotten a chance to see Skyfall, the new James Bond movie. So I think Zaki is the only one so far who has seen it. So we may have to wait. You guys may have to wait until the next episode for the big group discussion on Skyfall.
For the full dissection. So I'll
exactly.
have to hold down the fort very briefly for this episode. We'll talk about Skyfall in a little bit, but yeah. Hopefully in 2 weeks we can get bonded, if you will.
Yeah, perhaps a grander James Bond centric episode.
Well, I'm always up for that. I'm always up for talking James Bond. So
right, but we do have a great show planned.
Yeah.
In light of all that, so.
We have plenty to talk about. Now, you guys went to see Terminator 2.
Yes.
Judgment Play.
As in, yes, TOO, as in Terminator also.
So Terminator 2 as in Teen Wolf 2.
Yes.
Look who's talking to.
Right, correct.
Which is heady company, by the way, to be accompanied with.
Absolutely. No, the Terminator 2 comes from the same people who put on this stage play Point Break Live, which, if people aren't familiar with that, what they did was they transcribed the film Point Break into a small theater experience, but instead of casting a Keanu Reeves character, or I forget what his name is in that movie. Johnny Utah, of course. They actually audition people from the audience who want to be in the play, and they pick, audience picks who they want. And so an audience member gets to play Keanu Reeves' part for the entirety of the play around these other actors who are acting around him. And because he obviously wouldn't have had time to memorize the lines, they have a cue card girl who will tug and push and pull him all around stage and put the cue cards in front of him of what he's supposed to say. And it's a very ragtag sort of experience in the best way possible. Especially with Point Break, it was a lot to do with surfing, of course, and so they would have water guns and squirt the audience. And whenever people get shot, they have squibs of what I think is like red Kool-Aid or something, and they squirt it all over the audience. And you have to wear a poncho; it's mandatory. For this event. But anyway, it was very successful from what I understand, and they've franchised it, and it's I think they have in San Francisco, Los Angeles, New York, and some other places. And so we saw the debut of the Los Angeles version of Terminator 2. And it was the same sort of thing, and I read a review about it, and someone put it very eloquently, and I can't remember who it was, unfortunately, but they said it was like a Broadway play by way of the 99-cent store. And that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
And I cannot recommend it enough.
That sounds like such an LA thing.
What's that?
I mean, just the whole concept of what you're describing. It just seems like something that you do down there in LA.
Yeah, it's so much fun, and it's more than just a them doing Terminator 2. It's full of 90s pop culture references.
Yeah.
And it's a great interactive play. Like when there's a chase scene, like, the guy playing the T-1000 will be running literally like through the audience, chasing Sarah Connor around. And our friend Chad, who was with us, the T-1000 came like right up to him and did the creepy stare right in his eyes and like sort of caressed his face. And
it's fun. The sad part is that Eddie Furlong shows up every day and he's like, "Can I be John Connor?"
They had a girl. They had a girl who played John Connor, and she was great.
Really,
she made the show. I really thought she was so funny. Like her take on the character,
so good.
I was curious what they would actually do because he's somewhat easy to imitate, I guess, from that film. But they took it in a way that wasn't obvious and just took the energy of that character and made it really, really fun and over the top. And it was really great. And the just one last thing with and I don't want to spoil any surprises because people should definitely go see it. But the way that they handle the T-1000, the special effects, were really great. There's a lot of tinfoil involved. Yeah, and it was very funny.
Interesting.
So it's Terminator 2, TerminatorTOO.com. If anybody wants to look it up, and tickets were cheap. I think they were $20 or something.
$20, totally worth it. We even got a free tequila shot during the show. The portion of the film where they go down to Mexico so they can get their stash of weapons. Yeah, they had people come out passing out tequila shots, and
that's hilarious.
So, but anyway, it's playing at the Viper Room, and I'm looking. Yeah, definitely go to their website because it looks like they're adding days now.
Yeah, worth it. Well worth it.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen Batman Live?
Yes,
I
have.
Different from Six Flags, right?
Yeah, it's like
from
this
the Six Flags stunt show.
No, not the stunt show. It's like this touring thing that's going around.
Yes, yeah.
You saw it, Brian?
I did. Yeah, yeah.
What did you think of that? You're a pretty big Batman fan.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, and it's sort of like the Six Flags show on steroids. Mm-hmm. They have these crazy. Well, they're not crazy. Like the stage is really interesting because they have this really cool state-of-the-art video screen backdrop, and so they'll add a few tangible things on stage, but they have a really cool three-dimensional, like you're soaring through the city on this screen, and then they'll stop at Wayne Manor, and all of a sudden you'll be in his dining room, and it's all a digital backdrop. But then they'll add like a big dining room table, sort of a thing, and. Anyway, but the stunts are they're not crazy. You know what I mean? There's a lot of it's almost like Cirque du Soleil meets the Six Flags show, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean it's really interesting. But my brother and I went, and we got to go for free, and we were saying for free it was like just a crazy, weird, fun thing to kind of go experience. But I think if I had dropped, $60 or more, which some people, according to their seats, had. I don't know that I would have enjoyed it as much.
So it was worth the nothing that you paid for it.
It was worth the nothing, but it's definitely for all ages. Yeah, and it's I think it would appeal a lot to kids.
Does Val Kilmer play the Penguin? Because he's kind of fat. That's what I'm saying there.
He's actually doing a Mark Twain stage show, isn't he? Which I hear is pretty great.
Yeah.
I hear he just randomly started playing Mark Twain, and people were like, people just constructed a stage show around him.
Yeah. Hey, gather round! It's Val Kilmer. The guy from Real Genius is doing Mark Twain.
So we got some listener letters. Moving on. We've been making fun of Val Kilmer a lot lately. I'm feeling kind of bad about that.
Oh, he's great. Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. We built that up like a week or two ago.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. And you know what's funny
is awesome in that.
is that I know of at least one person who went out and bought Kiss Kiss Bang Bang on our recommendation. So
really,
yeah.
Did they say they liked it?
They haven't watched it yet.
Okay,
but yeah.
I'd love to know.
Well, you know what's funny actually is that just since we started doing the show, in fact, actually just in the last 2 weeks, and this is based on our show, I got the E.T. Blu-ray because of Brian, your recommendation, and then just today I got the Ninja Turtle movies on Blu-ray because we were talking about them. Like they came out with like a triple pack.
That's like, really? You were forced to get.
I was forced to get 3. Yeah,
yeah.
And then just arrived today, Bill and Ted.
Oh, nice.
On Blu-ray, yeah. So again, and I ordered that literally just based on our conversation a few weeks ago. So somebody's getting rich off of our show. It ain't us, but
if we had planned this ahead, when you said you got the Bill and Ted, Sean and I would have gone, excellent! And we would have had the heavy metal.
Close enough. By the way, the shortly after we talked about Bill and Ted, I did a nostalgia theater on my site about the many other facets of Bill and Ted. You know, because we talked about the cartoon show and the live action show, but I don't think people realize that there was an action figure line and a breakfast cereal.
I do remember the cereal. You stumped me with the action figure, so I had no idea that existed.
Yeah, and the live action show. I didn't realize there was a live action TV show of it.
Well, did you see the clips that I linked to?
Yeah, I did. I watched them. It's very weird.
It's bizarre, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a line of action figures where it was Bill and Ted and their band, which is, of course, murdered President Abraham Lincoln and genocidal murderer Genghis Khan, who come with, like, drum sets and stuff, you know? I don't know what they were thinking, you know? But, that exists. So, first up, we got some listener letters. So, let's get right to it while the getting's good.
Let's get lettering.
Let's get lettering. No, I don't think that works. No. This first one is from Jamie. He says, just about wrapped up with the latest podcast. I love you guys and all, but how on earth did none of you mention how good Zimmer's Inception score was? I thought it was his best to date. And, that's a screw-up.
No,
it's not
absolutely.
His best to date, but
I think it's one of his best. I think it's one of his best.
It is really good.
I mean, maybe not if you're going to listen to it as standalone or something. Maybe I would understand if it didn't stir someone as much as maybe something else. But coupled with that film, I mean,
yeah.
I think on our Facebook page I wrote a comment and I said, honestly, that's with Joseph Gordon-Levitt floating in that hallway, pushing the guys in the elevator, that music playing, the van falling in slow motion. I mean, that's one of the last times I can remember being breathless in a movie theater.
Yeah.
So, absolutely.
Well, Brian, I mean...
makes me think of a story, doesn't it, Zaki?
Yeah, well, I was going to say, Brian, we got to tell the Inception story.
Ah, yes. The Inception story.
The Inception story.
Let me... well, do you want to tell... Actually, this was your genius plan.
Okay, well, I'll tell my perspective, and then Brian, you can fill in as we go. So this was fall of 2010. So shortly after, because Inception came out, probably July?
Yeah.
July of 2010, right? Yeah, so I was visiting SoCal a few months after, and I was crashing at Brian's place, which is what I tend to do when I'm flying solo and when I'm not encumbered with the familial unit. And so what? And I say encumbered in the nicest way, like encumbered. That doesn't sound good, but anyway, I was flying solo. That's the point. So, what tends to happen is that I'm just used to waking up early. So I would wake up early, and I'd do some writing and whatnot, and then I'd be up basically, and I'd be dicking around with nothing to do, and
So what I decided was I'm going to see if I can manipulate Brian's dreams. So I'd go into Brian's room and I'd set my iPod and I'd put on the Inception music and it would be the music from I think the track is like Dream Collapses or something like that.
Dream is collapsing. Yeah.
Dream is collapsing. Yeah, and so I'd just I'd play that and I'd put the volume not too loud, but loud enough so it could be heard. And I'd just kind of put my iPod next to his bed, next to his pillow. And what tended to happen is every day, as soon as he heard it, he would wake up. Right, Brian? Am I remembering right?
Yeah. So I remember waking up the first day and being like, "What? Like, what is this? What's going on?" You know, and you're just there. I feel like it was your laptop. But
you know what? You might be right. You might be right.
But it was funny. I wish I could shoot this as a short film so you could see my perspective. But it was, I woke up with an open laptop with the Inception music playing and Zaki just ever so calmly sitting there looking at me. And just, it wasn't even like trying to laugh or, hey, I'm doing this experiment on you. It was just totally observing. So, anyway, that was day one.
So then second day, I tried the same thing.
Yes.
And then the same thing happened, right?
Same thing, and now I knew what you were doing, and I remember waking up and being like, "Oh yeah, no, I don't remember what I was dreaming." But again, same thing. And no, this was in my bed. Zaki standing next to my bed over me, holding his laptop, playing this music, just observationally. I mean, no expression on his face at all. And I was like, "Oh yeah, it didn't work. I don't think." That was day 2.
And then on the last day, we got the kick.
So day 3, I'm dreaming, and I honestly don't remember what I was dreaming about. But what I do remember is it was something about a talk show, and I was watching a band, like the late night band sort of thing, and the drummer was doing this sort of beat, and the song was going a certain way, and as I slowly left dreamland, it was the Inception music that the band was playing. And I opened my eyes, and without even needing a moment to know where I was, I saw Zaki standing over me holding the laptop, and I just said, "It worked." It totally worked. And I remember thinking, like, this is unprecedented. We have to document this.
I just remember being so proud and happy and just it was like giving birth. I feel like that's what giving birth must be like.
You gave birth to a dream.
That's right.
It's practically the exact same thing.
It's virtually the same thing.
Yeah.
I'm sure if I pulled my wife in here right now, she'd be like, "Yes, that's totally what it is. That's exactly what giving birth is. By the way, I'm leaving you." I think that's what the conversation would be.
Yeah. I'm just realizing that there's been a lot of stories lately that involve like the two of you in bedrooms or watching movies, cuddled up on the couch together and things like that.
Look, Sean, Brian and I have something that you'll never understand. It's true though. Yes, I don't know what that's about, Brian.
Not cuddled, comfortable,
comfy, cozy.
If your hands end up going where they're not supposed to, hey, you know what? It's the movie. It's the experience. All right, moving on. Next letter. This is from Najib, and he says, "Just listened to your podcast, and I absolutely loved it. It was very entertaining and enjoyed it. It reminds me of my discussion with my close friends. Our wives think we are nerds, but it was great to hear similar thoughts. I love the film score discussion a lot, as you don't really hear it. As you don't really hear it, or no one really cares. I was disappointed that none of you guys mentioned my favorite composer, Clint Mansell. I wanted to call in and tell you. Anyways, great job, and I would love to join the conversation. Good job, but Clint Mansell deserves a mention."
He does. Some of his stuff is really great. Now,
Clint Mansell did that Requiem for a Dream, right?
Yep. Yeah, a lot of his stuff is that sort of like that. He'll take that, those few chords, and he'll just start repeating. Like every verse is just kind of a repeat, but he builds on it and builds on it and builds on it, so that by the end of it, it's this very big, swelling, deep, emotional kind of stuff. His score for The Fountain is really, really good. We use a lot of that as temp when I'm cutting together the Tron show.
So does he just only do Aronofsky movies?
Let's see. He did Smokin' Aces. What little score there was for that movie. I know he did that.
Is that the one with Chris Pine?
Yeah, Chris Pine, Ryan Reynolds, Ray Liotta. It's the Carnahan movie.
That's right. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't remember the score from that so well, but that would be way different, I would imagine.
Actually, it's surprisingly similar.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah.
I have not heard enough Clint Mansell in my life, so I can't really comment on.
You'd like the Fountain score, Zaki. I think you'd really enjoy that. It's one of the, like, if you're writing or reading or, working on Photoshop or whatever, doing your own thing late at night. It's one of those good background albums to have playing.
They should put out an album for doing Photoshop. Music to do Photoshop by. That seems like a very niche audience, Next letter. This is from Randall, and he says, to the MovieFilm Triad. I can't believe no one has asked you guys this yet, but if you were stranded on a desert island and could only have one movie to keep you company for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Ugh.
This old poser.
So you're on a desert island and you only have one movie. So you're on a desert island that somehow has a Blu-ray player and the power for it. This is a tough one. I don't know. What do you guys think?
This is a tough one because I don't know that this would necessarily be my favorite movie of all time. Yeah. But what could I watch over and over again? What could you watch
over and over? Yeah.
For different reasons and feel like I would enjoy it in different ways.
Right.
I know this could sound crazy. I almost feel weird cementing this answer, but I think I might bring Terminator 2 with me.
That's
a movie I just watch over and over, and Absolutely. I never get tired of it. And
why Terminator 2?
People, whenever I try to say my favorite movies, I usually can come up with 5 that I name consistently, and that's always one of them. And, I think if I haven't said it directly, it's become clear that E.T. is, if not one of my most favorite films of all time. But I don't know that's something I want to watch over and over again. And I just feel like there's a lot of different elements to Terminator 2 and a lot of different, almost like visceral enjoyment out of it. There's a story enjoyment out of it. I don't know. I feel like it's something that I could use as background noise. It's something I could watch and enjoy. I don't know. Just off the top of my head, that's the first one that came to mind.
That's interesting. Sean?
I would go with probably Last Crusade. Indiana Jones and Last Crusade.
That's a good one.
I think that is a pretty much perfect movie. And there's a lot of... I guess sentimental value in it too. Like I still remember where I saw it, what theater and who was with me, and all the cliches like the smell of fresh popcorn and all that. But it's also a movie that's been shared like in my family for a long, long time too. It's a movie that I can quote with my parents back and forth, which to me is something pretty cool because we don't have many movies like that we all share together. But I think it's the best of the indie movies, and I think it's one of Spielberg's finest directing accomplishments. And overall, like you said, Brian, it's a movie that I never get tired of watching.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a great choice. In fact, that's a movie that I'd very readily pick too. I just to switch it up, just to make it different. I think that I would go with Superman, the first, the Richard Donner Superman,
right?
And obviously, because I do have a lot of sentimental attachment to that movie, I do think it's. I was thinking because my two favorite movies are probably Superman and Planet of the Apes,
right?
And I think if it came down to it, I don't know that. I feel like if I'm on a desert island, I want some hope. So I don't know that like a post-apocalyptic ape wasteland is really the thing to make me hopeful. So I think just based on that, I would probably go with the Christopher Reeve Superman. Yeah.
Now, in which Superman is it, Zaki, where in the background of like the crowd noise you hear somebody say like, Of course, he's Jewish. Or something like
that's Superman 2. Yeah, in Superman 2, folks. If you if you watch that, and if you have the Blu-ray, you can really pay attention. It's the scene when there's a little kid who is A, the dumbest kid on earth, and B, he has the dumbest parent on earth. He's on, like, they're at Niagara Falls, and he's on the other side of the fence. The barrier. So he's on, and he's doing this ridiculous thing where he's kind of like switching from one hand to the other, holding onto the fence. You know what I mean? He's on the other side. He's not, so, and he's like, "Hey, Mom, look at me," and the mom is like looking in the other direction. She's like, "Yeah, that's nice, honey." And then, of course, idiot, argument for eugenics, falls over. And he falls into the water. And then, of course, Superman comes and rescues him. Superman catches the kid before he falls in the water. And you can hear it. You can hear somebody say, "Oh, what a nice man." And somebody else says, "Well, of course, he's Jewish." Which is such a random, very specific thing to put into, obviously it's just kind of background color. But it's so specific, which always struck me, Yeah. So that's amusing. That's all. But yeah, that's my Desert Island movies for Superman.
Nice. Cool. We all picked adventure films.
Yeah, well,
not comedies, not.
Well, I was thinking about that because you know how familiarity breeds contempt, and I feel like with comedies, it's like you can only laugh so many times,
right?
And then eventually you just hate.
Yeah, yeah.
So the joy turns to hatred, and I was like, well, rather than have that happen,
My backup choice was Prince of Tides. So,
Prince of Tides, is that the Barbra Streisand movie?
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. I'll just move on. So we got some headlines to discuss, some interesting things. I feel like at some point we should just make like Star Wars rumors its own little section, because I have a feeling we're going to have Star Wars rumors to discuss every week between now and when the movie comes out.
Does that, I feel whenever I see a Star Wars story now, I almost am like, ugh, like until we actually know, like I don't really care about what people think.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
That's true.
And people, the things we're going to discuss tonight, there have been some quotes from some interesting people, some interesting directors and things like that. So, there's certain things worth reading, but a lot of times when it's like, will this person be? It's like, if we don't know, then I don't need to read 4 paragraphs about not being sure.
Right. No, I agree with you, man.
So, one person who is in the know would be Frank Marshall, who is the producer of the Indiana Jones movies, and he's married to Kathleen Kennedy, who is the new head of Lucasfilm.
Right.
And according to him, the search for a new director for Star Wars is down to, quote, a couple of candidates. And he knows who it is, but he ain't telling. Right. But some of the names that have been bandied about, Spielberg has categorically denied it.
Right.
And he said he won't be doing it. J.J. Abrams, who you guys mentioned last week, has also removed himself from the running. And he gave a very interesting reason, I thought. He said, and I'm paraphrasing here, but he said that he's just too much of a fan to do it justice. Which and he used his own, he's the guy in charge of Star Trek right now. He used his experience there as sort of the example, where he said that he was able to do something with Star Trek because he wasn't a fan, so he didn't feel the need to sort of hold on to everything.
Right.
And
which I can appreciate.
Yeah, I thought that was, to be as much of a fan as he is, and to have sort of the maturity to say I'm not the guy to do it. I mean, that says something. Mm-hmm. Quentin Tarantino, for those of you who are waiting for the Tarantino Star Wars movie, which was never going to happen, by the way.
Yeah.
Quentin Tarantino has denied it before even being asked, Hey, Quentin, I'm not doing Star Wars, man. We're just asking about Django, but thanks. So he's out, and Jon Favreau, who I had suggested last week, is playing coy.
Yes, that's literally the word I put next to Favreau really? In my notes. Coy. Because I would say he's being hopeful. I think he would obviously like to do it. Or he's being That's what I was wondering with some of these people. The people who are saying no, I wonder if it's because they know they're out of the running. Like, well, I'm either attached to this other franchise, so I can't do it, so I can just say no. And the other people are like, oh, I don't know, we'll see. Or just like, oh, please pick me, please pick me.
Right.
I mean, that's obviously,
but Favreau, I would be surprised if he's not on at least a short list.
Oh, I'm sure.
I mean, he kind of he meets all the sort of the criteria,
Yeah.
So he's somebody, and I just read a name earlier today, and unfortunately I can't seem to find it now. But a female director is also in the running too.
Actually, I have that pulled up.
Bah! There's no girls making movies.
Brenda Chapman.
Now, who is Brenda Chapman?
She was the co-director of Brave, the Pixar film.
That's right. That's right.
So she apparently was working at Lucasfilm already on some sort of mystery project, but I don't know if this is fact or not, or people assuming, but they thought it was animated. Oh, she is. No, she was working on an animated Star Wars project.
I can't imagine that they would entrust a movie to like a first timer like that.
Right. I thought you were going to say something else.
Yeah, I totally did too.
To a woman.
I
was like, tread lightly, tread lightly.
But no, really, I think
dames and pictures don't mix.
Well, there was another guy. I'm so unprepared here. The director of Safety Not Guaranteed.
That's
I don't know where that rumor's coming from.
Yeah, I heard that too.
About by a few different places, sources.
I had heard Joe Johnston's name come up.
Yeah,
and that was actually being passed around at work, and usually
at Disney, by the way.
Yeah, and usually when the rumors start flying around at work, it's because somebody was seen having lunch with so and so, or there. I'd say 9 times out of 10 there is some validity to it, and that's, to me, that's not a bad choice.
I mean,
he helped craft that world.
Yeah.
He was a designer, right, for the original trilogy.
Yeah, I mean, he designed the ships.
Yeah.
He designed the X-wing. He designed Boba Fett. He designed. Yeah, I mean, that's the look of that world. A lot of it is from his brain. So.
Yeah, well, Joe Johnston, Ralph McQuarrie, a lot of the concept art. For sure, sprang from their mind.
I think I would put. I think if I had like a top 3, I'd be thinking Brad Bird, Joe Johnston, or Joss Whedon. Would be sort of my dream lineup. Any one of those 3 guys would be a great.
Well, I mean, Whedon is out.
Movie.
Yeah.
Because
I mean, he is like the self-proclaimed biggest Star Wars fan in the universe. So.
Yeah, but
do you think he's sort of like, crap? It's like a blessing, beyond a blessing, to be tied into this amazing, huge franchise that launched him into what he is now. But he's like, if only I had known.
Yeah,
he's probably a victim of circumstance right now.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure he can dry his tears on the gazillions of dollars that he's made off of, off of having the #1 movie of the year.
Right.
Yeah.
But speaking of Brad Bird and J.J. Abrams and these guys, the next Mission Impossible movie, they're saying that it's going to be directed by Christopher McQuarrie.
Right.
Oh.
Which sounds like a really good choice to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who just did Jack Reacher.
He just did Jack Reacher, Cruise, and he did Way of the Gun.
Yes.
Yeah. I have to say, I think that J.J. Abrams is kind of the co-captain of that franchise now, and I think him and Tom Cruise have made for a good partnership, because they've between their 2 Mission Impossibles, they've brought in some very interesting talent. I think Brad Bird was a very inspired choice.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to kind of see what they come up with next for that.
Yeah, Way of the Gun's a good flick.
Yeah, it's very underrated. It's funny. I was just earlier this week, one of my students brought up that movie, and it just got me. It reminded me of when Ryan Phillippe just belts Sarah Silverman.
Yeah, that's at the very beginning of the movie. Yeah,
just right up top. Yeah. It's good times.
Yeah.
Good times.
And he wrote Usual Suspects, of course.
Correct.
Exactly right. And he also wrote. Didn't he write Traffic, or am I thinking of somebody else?
I feel like that might be someone else.
Oh, okay. I'm going to find out now. Hold on. I'm going to look this up. If only there was a thing.
We need look it up music while we're like looking stuff up on IMDb.
Wow. Oh, you're really you're going with it. He actually he didn't write Traffic, but he did write the Wolverine.
Oh, the Wolverine?
Yes, not just Wolverine, the Wolverine. And he also wrote the screenplay for Top Gun 2, which is not going to get made.
Oh,
sad.
Yeah. Well, I think it's for the best that movie's not getting made.
Right. Obviously Tom Cruise likes him. I mean, he's...
we're seeing a trend here.
Yeah. It's interesting how all the Mission Impossible movies have had these very auteur sort of directors put their stamps on them.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
That was something that Cruise wanted from the beginning with that franchise. Was he didn't want it to be like the Bond flicks where they were sort of very rote stylistically, arguably.
Yeah,
I mean, he chose Brian De Palma.
Right. Well, but Brian De Palma, I feel like Brian De Palma in 1995 was not kind of the joke that he is now.
I mean, if I would argue that he's never done a great movie.
Well, here's the thing.
A lot of his movies are crap.
Well, I agree that a lot of his movies are crap, but Brian De Palma earns a lot of cred for Scarface, which
overrated.
Yeah, I agree that it's overrated. Untouchables.
A decent movie, but ridiculously inaccurate factually.
Well, yeah, but I mean, if we're using that as the gradient, I mean,
no, but as a movie, The Untouchables was entertaining.
I would say The Untouchables is probably his best movie.
Possibly his only good movie.
Well, no, I mean, he did Carrie, which is pretty good.
Meh.
And I'm trying to think, Brian. What other movies? Right? What jumps to mind?
I haven't seen a lot of his movies. I don't remember what
Snake
movie it
Eyes.
was.
Yeah, that was fantastic.
Snake Eyes. Is one of the worst things I've ever seen. Just one of the worst things. Not even movies. Just one of the worst things I've ever seen.
Just garbage. That movie is.
Yeah, I mean, it's like aftermath of Hurricane Katrina, Snake Eyes,
Mission to Red Planet. Did you do Red Planet or Mission to Mars? One of the two.
Mission to Mars.
Yeah, that's another classic.
Wow. Mission to Mars. Yes.
Jesus.
Is that the one with Tim Robbins?
Yeah.
They should put that on the DVD box, Sean. Jesus. Sean Coyle.
Sean Coyle, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, no doubt. But if you're in 1995, what's De Palma arguably best known for? Taking this other TV show and turning it into a movie. That's very well regarded.
Right.
That's probably why they had him do Mission Impossible. Which I didn't like, by the way. I didn't like the first Mission Impossible movie.
Yeah.
No. That's probably why. I didn't like the second Mission Impossible movie either, for entirely different reasons. So
the second one was really funny. It was just like let's kick some ass. He's got like these badass sunglasses and the hair flopping in the wind and flames and doves everywhere. It's like, what?
Yeah, well, that was like John Woo just got, he lost his inhibitions on that movie.
Yeah.
If you take just the action sequences in that movie, it's like a fantastic 18-minute
right.
action sequence.
Yeah, I mean, if you speed up the slow motion to regular speed, it is about 18 minutes long. The entire movie would be about 18 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah.
But moving on, speaking of other old franchises that are being given a new polish, we talked a few weeks ago about the Beverly Hills Cop TV show that they're putting together.
We sure did, Zaki.
We did. Well, this is a follow up to that. This is the few weeks later update. That's moved one step closer to reality. They have cast the lead. They have cast Axel Foley Jr. and
Gilbert Gottfried.
Close, but
Coleman.
not quite.
I am a fish out of water.
I need your help. It's actually not bad casting, I have to say. It's Brandon T. Jackson.
Yeah, I like him.
He's probably best known for, at least for me, he's best known from Tropic Thunder.
Yeah.
The
young rapper who's making his acting debut, and he's always trying to push booty juice.
Booty sweat.
Booty sweat.
Booty sweat. That's it.
Oh, man, he's so funny. And he was in Percy Jackson and The Lightning Thief as, like, Percy Jackson's best friend.
Right. Really?
Which, not a great movie, but I remember thinking, watching that, man, like, I really like this guy. Like, he should be in more things.
Yeah.
So, that's good.
Yeah, well, when I heard, because I just read that this morning, when I heard he was cast, I was like, I was like, okay, I can see that, you know?
Now, does the T in his middle name, does that stand for the? Because that would be really cool.
Brandon the Jackson. That only works if your last name is like clown or judge or, an occupation, I think.
I don't know, but not sure. But the show, by the way, will I think we mentioned this before. It'll have regular appearances by Eddie Murphy.
I guess he's not doing much these days, so.
Yeah, he's just well, I read an interview with Eddie Murphy. This is probably earlier this year, maybe late last year. It was around the time Tower Heist came out, which wasn't very good. I just saw that recently. It's not very good, but they were kind of hailing that as the big comeback movie for Eddie Murphy. And he gave this interview. I want to say it was in Rolling Stone, and the gist of the interview is like, what do I need to come back from? Like, I'm doing fine.
Right.
He's kind of like his whole perspective is like, look, I don't have to work. All I have to do is just sit around. I'm making money. Like, why are people on my back about having to come back or whatever? And I read that and I was like, it's kind of true.
Yeah,
right.
I mean, he's at a stage in his career like because he's relatively young. He's what is he in his 40s probably, late 40s maybe. And
I don't know.
I mean, he was like 19 when he was on SNL.
Right,
and that's early 80s. So, yeah, so probably late 40s, let's say, maybe early 50s, and he's at a stage where he's effectively retired, right? And it was kind of revelatory where you realize how a lot of the media horse race about so and so's hot, so and so isn't, like, that's sort of made up.
Right.
Like just a few weeks ago, we were kind of, or I was kind of poking fun at Mark Hamill.
Right.
And it's like, well, Mark Hamill's doing just fine, Right. I don't think he's sitting around and, living in abject poverty, And so a lot of this, it's the media bubble a little bit, Speaking of the media bubble, other news is that Michael Bay is still making Transformers movies.
He sure
is. And he said he wasn't going to, right?
He had said after the third one he was done, but they backed a dump truck full of money.
He's a frickin' liar.
A transforming dump truck full of money up to the Yeah, exactly. So he's doing Transformers 4. Unfortunately, Brian, for you, Shia LaBeouf is not coming back.
No.
No.
I don't understand why he is considered a kind of a sex symbol. I don't understand. I mean, I'm willing to admit if a man is attractive or whatnot. I don't understand the sex appeal portion of the Shia LaBeouf story.
Okay, Zaki, Shia LaBeouf or Ben Savage?
Like, I don't know what you're asking me to choose.
Can you add a sound effect of me walking away and shutting a door?
Well, I wonder if Ben Savage looks at Shia LaBeouf's career and just kind of shakes his fist at why was I born 10 years too early?
Yeah, but he's coming back. This isn't movie related, but did you hear they're going to do a Boy Meets World?
Yeah, show? Girl Meets World.
Yeah. Girl Meets World, and Ben Savage and Danielle
Fishel. Danielle Fishel.
Yeah. Yeah, they're going to play the parents.
I will absolutely watch that.
Yeah. Dude, totally.
Yeah. Interesting little factoid. I was the final episode of Boy Meets World came on the first Friday of May 2000.
Whoa!
And the reason I remember that is because it was the day that Gladiator came out. And so I was out, so it was Sean. It was you, me, Paul, and whoever else was going to see Gladiator opening night. And we went to like remember when you guys lived in Downers Grove?
Yes. Darien.
In Darien. You lived in, and there was like a deli that we went to eat at, and then we were going to go to the theater after that. So we're sitting there eating, and then I realized that I didn't set my timer, because this is pre-DVR. This is like VHS era. I didn't set my timer for the last episode of Boy Meets World. So I frantically called up my cousin. I was like, "You need to tape. It's on tonight. It starts in like 5 minutes. You have to record it." You know. Bear in mind, I was in college by this time, and yet I desperately needed to watch the last episode of Boy Meets World.
No, dude, I'm right there with you.
Yeah. The thing about that show is when you watch it now, you realize that Corey, who was played by Ben Savage, he just got uglier as the show progressed. So he went from like cute little boy to awkward, ugly man-child.
Right.
By the end. So the title didn't really make sense at the end there.
And the brother character got just weirder and weirder, and he became like his own sort of almost like Will Ferrell bizarre comedy within this nice.
Yeah, it was this parallel story.
I remember there was an episode where he married a goat.
Well, yeah, it's kind of like Family Matters. Remember how towards the end it was like, oh, and Urkel is in space now. Like Urkel is a cyborg. Like they just there was one Family Matters where he shrinks Carl down to the size of a mouse.
I remember that.
They just gave up.
I remember that.
They just gave up.
It's crazy, but I don't care. I want to see it.
Yep.
I want to see Urkel in space.
Well, you and a few other people, clearly, because they kept doing stuff like that.
Sorry, guys.
It's your fault. Yeah, actually,
the
interesting fact, the actor who played the older brother on Boy Meets World, Will Friedle, he's the voice of Terry McGinnis, the future Batman in Batman Beyond.
Yep.
The animated series.
And he's really good, and he's really good on that show.
Yeah, and he was also the voice of the Blue Beetle in Batman: The Brave and the Bold, another animated show. Yeah, so he's had a pretty regular voiceover, and he's also one of the voices on Kim Possible, I believe.
Yeah.
So good for him. I mean, he's kept working. But Transformers 4, Shia LaBeouf is out. Megan Fox was out already, but they've replaced him with Mark Wahlberg. So my prediction is that Mark Wahlberg's first line of dialogue will be, "What the hell's going on here? How these cars learn to talk?
Yeah.
Say hi to your mother." I don't know. I'm absolutely neutral on Mark Wahlberg being in the movie. I don't care one way or the other. I will watch it, and I will bitch about it afterwards.
Yeah, I thought the first one was whatever. It's fine. Hated the second one.
Oh, yeah.
And third one I saw mainly because I heard the 3D was really good. And
it was.
Like, destroyed Chicago, so I wanted to see that. Being from Chicago, I thought that'd be kind of fun.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's all right.
I actually fell asleep during big chunks of the third one.
Oh, I remember that. I remember you saying that.
Yeah. Like it
was whatever. You don't feel anything.
Well, here's what I'll say. After the second one, there's nowhere to go but up.
Right.
So even if it's one step up, you're like, hey, I'm making progress,
Yeah.
But what I remember is that it was so cacophonous. It was so noisy and ridiculous that it was like an air conditioner after a while.
It was.
Where it just lulled me to sleep.
Yeah, and then and I remember as the wall of noise was going on, for the last hour or whatever it was. I remember Shia LaBeouf's parents being magically whisked away from their vacation all the way to like Cairo, wherever all the action is happening, for some crazy, bizarro, nonsensical reason. Apparently, because Michael Bay thinks they're hysterical or something, and so he's like, "Wouldn't that be funny if they were here too?" And all of a sudden, they are.
Yeah.
It was like,
they're just like, "Are you using protection with your girlfriend?" Like they have nothing.
Yeah.
They just show up and make awkward sexual comments.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I
hope they're back, is what I'm saying.
Not Shia LaBeouf, but the parents, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll figure out a way to squeeze them in.
It'll be like Happy Days after Richie left, like somehow the Cunninghams were still on the show.
Yeah, maybe they'll open up the basement. They'll rent out their basement to someone, and it'll be Mark Wahlberg.
To be Mark Wahlberg. What the hell's going on here? You're not my parents? So yeah, that's coming out in 2015, I believe.
Whatevs.
Yeah.
So I want a T-shirt with a picture of Brian that says "Whatevs." I want to make that happen. And then, lastly, in headlines. Oh, actually, I stand corrected. That was lastly in headlines. Sorry.
I have a headline, actually. It sort of relates to headlines.
Oh, yes. Go ahead.
But have you guys heard that Disney is going to start advertising in regular neighborhoods on like people's garage doors?
What? No.
Like they'll pay you $500 a month or something like that for them to be able to plaster a billboard for a movie or a TV show on your garage door.
Is there like criteria for how populated your neighborhood is?
I have no idea.
Because, I mean, if you just live... I think of where I grew up, and it was, fairly populated. But, I mean, how often do people really go down my street? Unless I didn't live on a major road. I lived in a little subdivision, So, I mean...
Yeah, I mean, it's possible. It's possible it has to be based on population or something. And it's also possible that the story is completely made up, which it is.
Okay, well, thank you for that, Sean.
I was trying to figure it out in my head. Now, hold on. The numbers could work. Let me crunch them here. I'll get back to you guys. Damn it, Sean.
Okay, God help us. Moving on. Trailer talk very briefly. We've got one big trailer to discuss this week, which is World War Z.
Z for Zaki?
Z. It is World War Zaki. That's right.
You used to have that Z pin that you always wore in your jacket.
That's right.
The Zorro pin.
I got that when I pre-ordered The Mask of Zorro on VHS.
Wow.
Yeah. So we're talking 1998.
Jeez.
Yeah, fall of 98. Well, I'm amazed you remember that, Brian. That's going back.
Yeah, that was when I first met you. You had that leather jacket and the Z. I don't know.
Wow, that is when you first. Wow, holy moly, that's crazy.
It's sort of like your Fonzie jacket, what I mean? It's like your uniform.
Well, that jacket I got a lot of mileage out of, and then when we were filming one of our little short films, Paul tore the sleeve right off. Do you remember that, Sean?
I do.
And so my pissed off reaction to that actually wound up in the movie.
Yeah.
Method. I'm like, you tore my jacket,
Method directing, I guess.
Yeah.
I think your improv line was like, "This coat's been in my family for generations."
That's right. That's right. That's right. Wait. So okay, Zaki Z. Oh, okay. World War Z. Sorry, totally. My train of thought just derailed. So World War Z is based on a book, and it's a great book by Max Brooks. Have either of you guys read it?
No.
I haven't read it, and I wrote down a question for you because I know that you have read it.
Yes.
Are these characters, Brad Pitt, I guess, plays a UN guy. Is that a character from the book, or is this completely made up?
Okay, well, from what I see in the trailer, and actually, why don't we let's play a little bit of audio from the trailer just so folks can get a sense of this.
We're getting out of here. Terry, what is this?
It's the scene worldwide. Is anyone doing better than we are?
We don't know.
I'm scared. How do we know they're coming?
They're coming. Ready?
I need you to help him.
You're asking me to leave my family.
I'm not gonna force you. Don't pretend you're not well suited for the job.
Baby?
Tell the kids I'm coming back.
Honey!
Just, I'm coming back.
Okay, so
wow, that's intense.
It's very CG. That's for sure. It's very CGI.
Very much.
My sense is that this has nothing to do with the book, except for the fact that it involves a world war of Z's, and that and that's it.
Do you think if the movie's boring, you could make that your headline? World War Z's.
Oh, you know that there's critics out there who are hoping it's boring just for that. So that,
I'm going to patent it right now. Those idiots.
The book is set in the aftermath of the zombie war. So the idea with the book is that World War Z happened, and now we're following Max Brooks, who plays the role of like a UN researcher, as he goes around the world interviewing people who were key factors in what happened and how it was stopped.
Okay.
So through their looking back, we get the narrative of what happened, but we get beginning, middle, end.
Right.
And then the idea is that, the zombie threat never truly goes away, and it could still happen again if we're not careful, that kind of thing. And actually, interesting story. I first I didn't read it initially. I was listening to the audiobook, and I was listening to it was very gripping, and you just want to keep listening to it. And so I was listening to it at night, and I actually fell asleep listening to it. So I kind of like inceptioned myself the way like with Brian's dream. The moral of the story, seriously, folks, don't fall asleep listening to World War Z, because that was the most disturbing. Like I still remember the nightmares I had.
Wow.
But it seems like they've chosen to set it in the midst of the zombie apocalypse.
Right.
I mean, obviously, you can't do the story as it exists in the book. I don't know if it's going to be good or not, but I know that they've been dealing with some budget issues and all kinds of, I'm assuming, story issues too. I know they brought in Damon Lindelof. I'm not seriously. They brought in Damon Lindelof to rewrite it. So that's. That's not
so the conclusion will be: did this ever really happen? I don't know.
The zombie apocalypse
Maybe.
is just a turd on Brad Pitt's head, and yeah. That I literally they announced it earlier this summer that they've brought in Damon Lindelof to rewrite it, and just the comments from people it was a collective like, oh,
Is that sad?
Yeah, it's between Lost.
He's all right, writer. He just got to get off his whole mystery,
Well, Brian,
conclusion.
I think we had this conversation where we were saying that he's good at starting a story, just not necessarily ending a story.
Yeah.
Was that a podcast discussion, or did we just talk about that in life? I don't remember.
I'm sure it was a conversation that happened in one of your bedrooms while you guys were sharing a sleeping
Inception
bag
music was playing.
While I was playing the Inception
music.
I believe it was somebody left a comment about. Oh, that's right. It was.
Yes.
It was a comment about Lindelof possibly writing the next Star Wars, and then that just got the ball rolling.
Right.
So
well, I want to say I wrote down. I thought the coolest thing in the trailer out of all of it was when they were removing the Declaration of Independence.
Yeah.
In the protective case, and they were just because they knew it wasn't safe anymore. And I thought, whoa, I don't know if I've seen that before. That's kind of a cool, ominous image.
Yeah. Well, that's where I think the notion of the zombie apocalypse really works as a metaphor. It's one of those. These types of movies. The best thing they do is they put you in that position. They ask the "what would you do" question.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that's why The Walking Dead is so popular. I think that's why I think that's why the genre tends to continue on. And I've told you guys before, I tend not to be a fan of gore and whatnot, but I like the thematic idea. That visceral sense of like, if I'm in this position, who am I?
Right.
And Brian, what you bring up, that imagery really calls to the immediacy, the fierce immediacy of this situation. And what do you save? What do you not save?
Right.
I mean, if you have a fire in your house, what is the one thing that you make sure to grab?
My blankie.
Let us ponder this. I'm like, do I grab my kids or do I, which one? I don't know. Sean, what did you think?
I think Brad Pitt's involvement sort of immediately gives the film credibility.
Yeah.
And I know that he's been trying to get this movie made for a long time. And like you said, they've been having a lot of budget issues, but he's been pretty involved since its inception. To me personally, I think that the running zombies are a lot less scary than the slow, dopey zombies.
I totally agree with that.
Because when something runs so fast like that and eats people, it just becomes like a generic monster. It may as well be a Twilight monster or something like that.
Yep, totally agree.
But with the one exception is I really did enjoy 28 Weeks Later.
Yeah.
The second one, not 28 Days Later, but 28 Weeks Later.
Oh, you liked the second one. You didn't like the first one.
I didn't like the first one. And I know the second one, it's the more, amped up cokehead kind of zombies.
Yeah.
But I think they executed it really well in how they, in the pacing and the editing and how they handled those sequences where it was like, even though you had the running zombies, they filmed it in a way where they let the tension build, almost like you're seeing this tidal wave in the distance slowly getting closer. And then you cut back to the heroes realizing that they don't have much time to react and they have to get to safer ground. And then you keep cutting back and forth, and the stampede's getting closer and closer until, like, holy crap, all of a sudden they're right there. And then that's every man for himself. Like, they do a good job of building the tension to a point where, you're like, what are these people going to do? Like, why aren't they running? And then all of a sudden it's too late.
Yeah.
But, I don't know, World War Z looked just kind of generic and...
Good reviews.
Again, Brad Pitt's in it, so it's like, maybe it's good, but even if it has good reviews, I think... and if Paul Shire's listening, he's about to give me a whatever, dude. But I don't really have the stomach for these kinds of movies anymore.
Right.
Like, for me, if it's something like Aliens, which is a movie that I love, I like the idea of that, when it's like the ragtag group of heroes that have to band together and either fight off or run away from the monsters or whatever. I think in a movie like that works because there's also this sort of fantastical sci-fi element to it that makes it a lot less stomach churning. Mm-hmm. But now that I'm a dad and I've got a wife and a kid, and when they handle things in a more realistic way, like with a World War Z or Walking Dead or something like that, where it's like families in danger,
yeah,
and when it's women and children and babies and stuff, like especially guys like us who have seen just about every movie ever made, and our imaginations tend to run wild. Like, you can't help but just start to think of these awful, awful, awful things about, what if zombies broke into my house right now and, attacked my family?
Yeah.
And it's stuff that I just don't want to occupy my time with anymore.
Yeah, it's funny that you say that, because ever since I read the Zombie Survival Guide, which I read, Brian, at your house.
Yeah, I'm actually looking at it right now.
Yeah, ever since I read that, this is true. Like, wherever I go, I scope it out, and I'm like... When the zombie apocalypse happens, when the zombie apocalypse happens, what am I like? I'm like Jason Bourne, I'm like looking at all the exits and what do where do and so I get what you're saying to some extent. Brian, do you watch The Walking Dead?
I do not.
Oh, okay, so I'm the one watcher of that show.
Yeah, I've only seen the first season, and
I watched the first season, and I just. When it came back, I wasn't excited for it.
Well, yeah, what I would say is that you didn't miss a whole lot in the second season.
Yeah,
but
that's what I was hearing, and that's why I think that encouraged me.
Yeah, but I will say this: this third season that's currently running has just been gangbusters from beginning to wherever it's at right now. I mean, they had an episode 2 weeks ago, which I won't spoil, but if that episode did not prompt some kind of emotional reaction, I don't care how much of a manly man you are, then you have no pulse.
I actually heard about what happened, and you're right.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Oh, you guys know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they've really, they've really amped that show up. I mean, it's been pretty phenomenal lately. And actually, I think that's World War Z is going to have to compete with that, to be honest.
Yeah.
And that's tough. I think it's a tough comparison. I feel like Brad Pitt being in the movie is almost a liability. Because his being there draws attention to the artifice.
Yeah.
Because he's Brad Pitt, you know?
He's not normally in movies like this, is he?
No. I mean,
special effect heavy.
Yeah, and I mean, I think the genre benefits from having sort of unknowns in it.
Yeah, all of a sudden it's a big Hollywood movie. And,
yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, I'll see it. Of course, I have every intention of watching it. But
I'm sure. Oh, I'll see it too.
Yeah. But moving on, we have some other topics to discuss this week as well. A bunch of new movies came out this week, and I know we had mentioned at the top of the show we wanted to talk about Skyfall. We'll hold off on the big Skyfall discussion where we can go back and forth because as of now, I'm the only one who's seen it. I got to watch the press screening exactly a week ago today. We're recording on we're recording on the 14th, so I saw it just 2 days before it was released. And you guys know what a big James Bond fan I am, and this one did not disappoint.
I can't wait. I seriously can't wait for it.
I don't think it was as good as Casino Royale. I will say that.
Okay.
But I would say it's a difference of degrees. It's not, I gave Skyfall an A-, and I gave Casino Royale an A. So
that's fair. That's exactly what I'm expecting. So
yeah, I will say this: it basically renders Quantum of Solace, immaterial. I mean, I don't hate that movie. A lot of people did, but you really, big picture in terms of these movies, you don't need it because the meat of the story is in the first one and then in Skyfall. And without giving anything away, one thing I will say that I really appreciated about it, and the comparison I would make is with The Dark Knight Rises. I appreciated how Skyfall, unlike The Dark Knight Rises, is able to really fundamentally do big story things that make big changes to the status quo.
Right.
And yet it does so in a way that manages to essentially put the toys back in the box. So that somebody else can continue on after. Mm-hmm. So in other words, that specifically is what I liked about Skyfall, and that specifically that Dark Knight Rises did not do that is what I disliked about that.
Right.
And like I said, we can talk about it more after you guys see it, but I'm pretty sure you'll understand what I'm talking about. They got a great cast, though. Man, Sam Mendes directed the hell out of it.
That's what I hear.
Yeah, I mean, you can tell. I mean, he the cinematography is by Roger Deakins. It's just beautiful.
Great.
What's that?
I said great.
Yeah, it's just absolutely gorgeous. There's definite flaws in it. I think that I don't think the villain is really as developed as he could have been. I think they're coasting a lot on the fact that it's Javier Bardem.
Right.
But he's still fun to watch. He's very. I'm sure you guys will get the sense too. He's doing Heath Ledger in The Dark Knight.
Really?
Yeah, that's essentially the role he's playing.
Interesting.
As in in terms of acting tics, or the sort of character.
Not in acting tics, but in his role in the narrative.
Okay.
He's the agent of chaos.
Right.
There's very much of that, and I'm sure you'll see that. It's also the most London centric, most British set Bond movie ever, which is kind of interesting. Like huge chunks of this movie are set in just downtown London, which you realize they've never done.
Yeah.
Usually it's Bond,
which is surprising.
Yeah, when you think about it, you're like, oh yeah, I guess they've never done that. Just him in the streets of London is very interesting. Daniel Craig is signed on for 2 with an option for a 3rd one. So 2 more, possibly 3 more Daniel Craig Bond flicks. So
wow,
they seem to be very happy with him. Audiences seem to like him.
Yeah,
he's awesome.
I wonder if Timothy Dalton looks at Daniel Craig and is kind of like, you stole my shtick, because Daniel Craig is essentially doing the Bond that Timothy Dalton did 25 years ago.
Yeah.
And that was dismissed at the time. But we can save some of this we can have a more in-depth James Bond discussion next time. So we'll hang on to some of these threads.
Looking forward to that.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to getting you guys' thoughts on it. Another movie that's coming out is Red Dawn, and that's coming out a week from today, a week from the day that we're recording. Now, I should have seen this by now because I actually, there was a press screening yesterday that I had RSVP'd for, and I left to go see. But all those rumors you've heard about how Apple Maps sucks the big one are in fact true, because Apple Maps friggin' sent me off to Timbuktu.
Yeah.
And so I didn't make it to the screening until about 20 minutes after it had started, so I actually missed that.
That's a bummer.
Yeah, I was actually looking forward to seeing it, and not because I'm hearing great things. I'm hearing kind of mixed buzz, but I'm genuinely curious to see how they tackle that. I did, however, have a chance to interview Tripp Vinson, who is the producer of the Red Dawn remake, and I spoke to him last week via telephone, and we talked about a lot of stuff. We talked about why they remade Red Dawn and why some of the changes that they've made, and the film has been delayed for a few years, and we had a pretty interesting chat. So I thought I won't play the whole thing, but why don't I play some of the highlights of our conversation for the audience, and we can meet back on the flip side of that.
If you're seeing this broadcast, you are in a part of the country no longer controlled by the government of the United States.
They mess with the wrong family.
How did this happen?
There's a new class of weapon. Everything went offline and never came back. They wipe us out, including U.S. Central Command.
What am I supposed to do?
I'm going to fight. Anybody who wants to join is welcome to it. We'll hit them on our terms.
First up, I guess I'll start with the big question, and I'm sure it's the question that you're having to answer the most, which is, when it comes to remakes, I think there's two kinds of reactions. There's the, oh, they're remaking that? Cool. And then there's the, really? And I feel like Red Dawn has had the, really? reaction. So I was wondering if you could walk us through your process a little bit. How did we arrive at the point where we have the Red Dawn remake?
Well, it's funny. I have that reaction a lot of times when I see movies are being remade as well. But from my perspective, I look at it kind of differently. I looked at it as a great opportunity because I was such a fan of the original movie, and that movie had a really, really big impact on me when I was growing up. And so the opportunity to get involved with it was something that I was both very excited about and also, very scared of, I guess is the word I would use, because, you don't want to take something like that on and screw it up.
Yeah.
Because, especially, just when you feel so strongly about the original, it's a heavy burden. And I've been that guy in the movie theater, and I've seen remakes come up, and they haven't delivered on the they don't compare to the original. So I've been that disappointed moviegoer. I know what that's like, and we'll see if we avoided that with this movie. But I can tell you, we certainly tried, and we certainly felt the weight of the original on us as we were making this movie.
Now, this movie was announced in 2008, I believe.
Yeah. And
we're looking at a little over 4 years from then to now. What would you say has been? We know about the changes that were made. Would you say that the political sensibilities have changed at all, which have had any effect on the film that we're seeing now versus the one that was filmed?
No, I don't think the movie was never really designed to be political, which is kind of a great irony because I know it obviously did become political, but when we set out to make it, we really tried to focus the story on the fantasy and wish fulfillment of being a kid and being faced, with an incredible situation, being an underdog and rising to become a hero. I mean, that was always the focus of the story, and so the politics were not something that we were ever involved in. I'm sorry, the politics were never something we were all that interested in. Mm-hmm. I got to say, given the fact that we've gone through a year and a half of an election season, I'm really glad today that we made that choice. I mean, we tried to make something that was fun and popcorny, and at the same time, was true to the spirit of the original. But that was really it. I mean, the only other political thing I think that was sort of in the forefront of some of our minds as we were making the movie was there was something very interesting about making a movie that celebrated an insurgency. Mm-hmm. That seemed something to be that was something very interesting to explore.
Yeah,
at the time when we were developing the script. I see why it was such a political film. But when you're 12 or 13 years old and you're seeing Red Dawn for the first time, what I related to and what I took my experience with the movie was about these kids that were in high school that had to come together to fight against impossible odds. That's what spoke to me. I know that that's not going to be true for everybody, but when you see a movie, the context of your age and where you are in your life, I think colors the way you view the movie. And even though I'm much older now, the first time seeing Red Dawn, that experience is what I remember. It's what I take with me to this project. And that's what, that's going to be reflected in the movie that we made.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, that actually answers the question I was going to ask about what was your experience with that film as a kid, because you mentioned that it had a pretty profound impact on you.
Yeah, it did. It scared the hell out of me, to be honest. But it was just such a visceral film, and I guess it was, I don't know. I mean, certainly the fact that we were in a Cold War, I'm sure played a part in it, but I don't know that was as forefront in my mind at that age as it would have been if I'd been older and seen the movie.
Right. Yeah, it's definitely very grim.
Yeah, it is.
And did you now? In that sense, I'm assuming that you had to take some of that grimness and maybe pare it back a little bit to make this a little more palatable to a mainstream audience. Did that worry you at all? I mean, it's when we look at the original Red Dawn, it's definitely a lot darker, I think, than a lot of the mainstream films that we see these days.
Yeah, I agree. It definitely is than what you do in the mainstream today. However, I think that one of the things that I loved about the original Red Dawn was you didn't know who was going to get killed.
Right.
And that really added to the suspense of the movie, and that was something that, I think we all felt that we needed to stay true to. And there are, I don't know, in my opinion, we were pretty uncompromising in that regard.
And would you say for people who have grown up with the original one, there's enough new and kind of new surprises here to still keep them engaged?
Well, my opinion is on that is absolutely. I mean, I can tell you that the approach was to take a look at the original and find a way to keep the spirit of the original alive in the reboot, but the reboot was really designed to be its own thing.
Okay.
So, I mean, certainly there are moments from the original movie that we use in our movie, but when we could, we tried to find twists on those original moments. So I think kind of part of the fun, I hope part of the fun of the movie is to watch this and if you've seen the original, you think you know where we're going, but, we throw a little curveball at you.
Right. And on that note, as far as when you're figuring out what to preserve, what themes did you feel from the original Red Dawn you really wanted to make sure this new one embodied?
Well, I'll tell you. I mean, you gotta when you're taking a look at something like this. I mean, the first question that I think you have to ask yourself is, what is it about the original that that made that story work.
Right.
You know, and you know, I think some people would say, well, it was the politics, the geopolitical climate of the world. It was one of the things that really contributed to making that movie work. Okay, and fair enough, and I understand that position. But for me, I think that there's something more to it. And I think particularly for an American audience, you know, the idea of an invading army is something that speaks to the American psyche. Why? Well, you know, going all the way back to the Redcoats are coming, I think that, you know, that's a part of who we are,
right.
At least part of our history in this country. And that was something that, you know, we tried to capture. I mean, thematically what the movie is about is it's really simple. It's about fighting for, you know, what are you going to do when you're faced with incredible odds and you have an army that is invading your hometown? What are you going to do about it?
Right.
You know, are you going to run and hide, or are you going to band together and fight? And that sort of rebellious spirit, I think, is something that's celebrated quite a bit here in this country.
Right.
And frankly, you know, I think it's something that everybody can relate to because it's the ultimate underdog story.
I wanted to shift gears slightly here. I just when we look at sort of the timing of everything, obviously you had this big delay because of the MGM situation and everything. But one benefit that seems to have happened is that you now suddenly have the star of the #1 movie of the year headlining your movie. And I was just, you know, this is obviously Chris Hemsworth got involved before Thor was a twinkle in anyone's eye. So what was it about Chris Hemsworth that told you he was the guy?
Oh my God, it was obvious. I mean, we read so many people for all of these roles, and you know, when Chris came in and read, his first reading was with the casting director, and we got a very excited call from our casting director, Deb Aquila. And she set up a time for him to come in the next day to read for myself and the other producers and the director. And it was one of those sort of magical moments where somebody came in and read, and the first couple words out of his mouth, you knew he was the right person for the part. And one of the really fun things about this movie was the fact that the cast was so young and had to be so young to tell this story properly.
Right.
We were able to really kind of, you know, cast who we wanted to. There aren't a lot of big movie stars that are in their early 20s,
right?
And so there was more freedom, in casting this movie than what you normally experience when you're making a Hollywood movie. And it's kind of great that it worked out the way it did. I mean, Chris and Josh Hutcherson and Josh Peck, Nanny Pilecki and Connor Cruz and Jeffrey Dean Morgan. I mean, it's kind of a great cast, you know. I mean, I'm really proud of it, and there's a really nice lesson here, which is surrounding yourself with really talented young people sometimes isn't such a bad thing to do.
Yeah, well, it's interesting. I was actually just rewatching the original film this past summer, and I wasn't fully aware of who all was in the new one, and I was looking at Powers Booth, and I was like, man, he really looks like Jeffrey Dean Morgan. And later on, I was like, "Oh my gosh, he's."
Yeah, well, they do have sort of a similar vibe. I mean, I really, you know, Jeffrey did a great job with the role, and that's a good example, by the way, of a character that was in the original movie, but we changed that character quite a bit in this movie, and I'm really pleased, particularly with the way that worked out.
Staying in the neighborhood of some of the delay that you had, one of the changes that was made, which is out there, of course, is how Red China was turned to North Korea. Mm-hmm. I was wondering if you could elaborate on some of the thinking that went on behind that and what your reaction to that was.
Well, I mean, it's a long story, but remember, MGM was in bankruptcy, and when they went through their bankruptcy, they cut back quite a bit on staffing at the company, and that included distribution. Okay, So when the studio reemerged from the bankruptcy, they no longer had the ability to distribute movies.
Okay.
And Red Dawn and Cabin in the Woods, and there may have been another one in there, were movies that were, you know, finished, and they were shopping those movies for distribution to some other companies. Now, at that point, it became clear to them that they weren't going to be able to get distribution for Red Dawn due to the Chinese element in the movie.
Gotcha.
And I'm not privy to all the details of that. That was something that the folks at MGM were handling. But the bottom line was, if we wanted to get the movie released, some kind of change was going to have to be made. And that's pretty much an unprecedented, card to be dealt. I don't know of another example in the history of Hollywood where something like this has happened, but it was something that was really difficult, and you take a lot of pride in all the work you do, and we had completely posted the movie and it was finished, so it was very difficult emotionally to have to deal with that issue. But at the end of the day, once we found a way to do it, and I got to say that I was really pleased with the way it all worked out. And I've said publicly, and I still believe this, I think that the version that we ended up making is a better version than what we had before. I can explain why if you'd like.
Yeah, please do.
Well, I mean, the original version that we made had there were some problems with it. I mean, there wasn't a very compelling. Well, there wasn't as compelling a reason for the invasion as I think we would have liked.
Okay.
And once we came to the decision to involve North Korea as part of a coalition, it freed us up to set the movie in a world that is slightly different than our own.
Okay.
And that's established in an opening credit sequence that goes through a series of events that actually haven't happened, but if the dominoes fell the right way, could.
Okay.
And so to have a little bit step back from reality, I think freed us up to set the movie in a much darker, scarier world, and I think that plays better over the course of the movie.
Oh, it's interesting.
I'd just say one last thing about it. I know there's a lot of skepticism about North Korea being involved in the movie, but you should see the movie because they're not the only invading force. We took into consideration the size of their military and their capabilities, and I hope we found some ways to justify the existence of North Korean troops in the setting of our movie.
Right.
Just as John Milius achieved that with the Cuban troops in the original Red Dawn.
Right. Well, and from what you're describing, it sounds very similar to what Milius did in the original, where there is that card at the beginning that does kind of say that.
It absolutely was, and that's kind of an interesting point to bring out, because what led us to how to achieve this was going back to the original movie.
Yeah.
and how they handled it, and it was a huge influence on what we ended up doing. And at the end of the day, again, I mean, I know I've said this already, but I mean, the movie's designed to be something that is fun to go watch, and of course, it needs to be logical, and I think it is, and hopefully people can go in and get their bag of popcorn and relax and enjoy the ride.
Well, one last question, very shortly, and this is only tangentially connected, but I remember reading that the Hangover was based partly on an experience with you. Is
Oh my God! Yes, it's true.
So I guess my question is: did you ever think that your life experience would spawn a trilogy of?
No, I really didn't. No, of course not. I had no idea. And I will say, though, I'm happy to say that the other two movies, I don't know what they're doing with the third, but I can tell you the second movie, I've never been to, where was that movie set?
It was Thailand, I think.
Thailand? I've never been to Thailand, so you can't pin that one on me.
So only the first one.
Yeah.
For them, this is just some place. For us, this is our home.
Okay.
Those are some good questions, dude.
Well, and I have to ask.
Yes.
I had not heard that thing about the Hangover.
Yeah.
So, where did you hear about that? And do you have any more specifics? Because he didn't seem to want to get into it.
Well, when I was first contacted by his people, I mean, the first thing I did was Google him.
Yeah.
Just to read up a little bit, and one of the things that came up was a link to the I want to say the Wikipedia page of The Hangover, but it might have been something else. But the Hangover, that happened to him. So he was the groom that got lost, I want to say.
So he didn't get to deal with Mike Tyson's tiger or anything.
Yeah, exactly. So they essentially, that story of what happened to him served as the seed that germinated into The Hangover. So kind of an interesting little nugget, a factoid there.
Yeah.
Now, Brian, what does hearing those questions, does hearing his answers, does that make you more inclined to want to check out the movie?
I wouldn't say it sways me one way or the other.
Yeah.
I'm curious enough. I think no matter what, this movie is a rental for me.
Yeah.
And because there's so, I mean, like we were saying, I haven't even seen Skyfall yet. I'm dying to see it, and I've had every intention of seeing it, and it's taken me this long. So it's
God. I said I was sorry. Jesus Christ, Brian, shut up.
No, I mean, and that's one movie. Like I still haven't seen. There's so many other things I still want to see. You know, there's so many immediate movies that I'd like to see still.
Yeah. You know, with Red Dawn, I go in as not necessarily a huge fan of the original. I can appreciate it for what it is, but I don't think it's a particularly great movie. So I feel like I have less of an emotional investment. I mean, some of that movie is just horribly cheesy. Like when have you guys seen it?
Yeah.
You know, when Patrick Swayze and Charlie Sheen, they're at the fence, and Harry Dean Stanton is like, "Boys, avenge me!"
Yeah, it's pretty goofy.
I will say though, the best part of the movie, and I remember it to this day, the best, most clearest memory is the opening when the kids are in class and those paratroopers are landing.
Yeah,
and they walk over to the window, and the teacher's like, "It's cool, kids. I'll handle it." He walks outside, gets like mowed down by a machine gun. I remember seeing that as a kid, and being horrified. And it put it in your backyard, and that was the most effective part of that whole movie for me, because that was like, that could have happened in my school.
I totally agree. It kind of I feel like it turns into kind of a militiaman's fantasy, and that's a little less engaging for me. I've seen it a couple times actually, just in the last 6 months, because I showed it just recently in a cultural expressions and media class that I teach, because you know it's this great 80s artifact, and kids today have no concept of that time and the fears, you know, the Cold War fears that people have. So showing it to kids today and getting their perspective, I find that very, very instructive.
What do they say?
They're mostly engaged by the story, but they do find it very, very cheesy.
I remember you said that they laughed when C. Thomas Howell was like, "Wolverine!"
Oh yeah, they thought it was hilarious.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Don't you know who that is? That's C. Thomas Howell." I'm like, Soul Man, you know, Pony Boy,
Soul Man.
yeah. And I'm like, fine, random guy, like kid's dad in Amazing Spider-Man.
Oh, him, right?
Do you remember that, Brian? He's like,
is he the guy with the crane?
He's the guy with the crane. That's right. He's like, Spider-Man, save my kid. I have to line up my cranes. That's not code. That's not code for anything.
We have 20 cranes lining this street that can all be lined up in succession.
Yes.
Yeah.
Spider-Man. Come on, it's a heart tugging scene. No.
Actually, you know what? I did actually like that moment.
See, we've poked through the veneer a little bit.
We joke because we don't want to cry. Because it really got to me.
Dude, you know what? It was fun. Brian, you called Amazing Spider-Man meh. I just got the Blu-ray again. I really like that movie, I gotta say. I like it more after rewatching.
You know, and that's the thing for me, is I don't dislike it. It just didn't grab me, or it didn't do anything for me or something. And did you see the Honest trailer that came out? I
did.
For it?
That was hilarious.
I felt like that summed up pretty much how I felt about it, especially the moment where they were talking about Uncle Ben, and it's like, let's see how we can get him to say the line from the first movie without saying it, you know, in the most roundabout, drag out. And that's sort of how I felt about the movie, where it was like they're just trying to recreate the first movie, but going out of their way,
just different enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what I think about The Amazing Spider-Man, this is my prediction, maybe I'll be completely off, but I have a feeling that what they intend to do with the sequel/sequels will, in hindsight, justify the reboot.
Oh, I'm sure. Now that they have the origin thing out of the way, and they can just let it rip and tell some stories.
Like, in other words, I have a feel, because here's the thing. Like, if you watch this one, I still feel like you could, with a few tweaks here and there, you could have just made this Spider-Man 4.
Right.
Oh, it's like, now Peter Parker finds out about his parents and blah blah blah. I think that the story that they intend to tell in the second one and the third one is such that they couldn't have done it in that original series.
Sure.
So that once we get there, you'll be like, oh, okay, and so it'll sort of benefit from that afterglow. That's my prediction. I could be completely off, but I have a feeling that that's what will end up happening with that.
Yeah.
Also out Wreck-It Ralph. Sean, you saw Wreck-It Ralph, right?
I did. It was great. All I will say about it, and I think we always use Back to the Future as the example of sort of the perfect execution of a great idea.
Yeah.
And Wreck-It Ralph is very much that kind of movie. The world is so completely realized from the overall story just down to like the littlest minor detail. It's just great. Like the voice acting, I ragged on Jane Lynch a couple weeks ago, but she's actually really, really great in this movie.
Oh, interesting.
Jack McBrayer is awesome. John C. Reilly, Sarah Silverman. Alan Tudyk steals the show.
Huh.
There's a short. There's an original Disney short that airs before it called Paperman.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I heard about that. Yeah,
which is also really great, and there's no dialogue in it, which is cool, and it's just very original, and the style is great, and it was a great 2-hour animation experience between Wreck-It Ralph and Paperman. And Zaki, I think that you should bring your oldest boy.
Oh, okay.
To go see Wreck-It Ralph because it's a lot of fun. And no matter if you're only familiar with Mario Brothers and Dig Dug and Donkey Kong and that original sort of Atari, early Nintendo era of video games, or if you're into the more advanced Call of Duty stuff now, there's something for everybody in it. And aside from all the video game references, it's just a really great story, and just highly recommend it.
Yeah, having not seen it, I was thinking if you're going to make a movie about video games, almost like the Who Framed Roger Rabbit of video games.
Yeah.
There's so much opportunity, so many things to mine, and I was wondering if they would pull that off and get everything they could out of it, and everything I've heard so far says that they do.
Yeah.
So that makes me really interested. I'm looking forward to seeing it.
Yeah, it's well worth it. You got to see it on the big screen too.
So this does do that thing where it pulls together all these different video game characters.
Yeah, and that's just like the sort of the bare bones of it.
So it's not like Captain N, the Game Master or something.
No.
Simon Belmont and
yeah.
There we go. We got a Captain N reference in. I can scratch that off the old bucket list.
How about the Wizard? As long as we're throwing him out there, remember that?
I remember that. That was with Fred Savage, right?
Yeah.
Wow, that really is going back. Wow.
It's like a 90-minute Nintendo commercial.
That's literally all that is. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's wow.
Made me buy a Power Glove.
Now the Power Glove didn't actually move.
Oh man, that thing was awful. You put it on, and you were supposed to put. It was almost like an early form of the Wii in a way, because you put a sensor above your television, and in the commercial, or at least in the movie The Wizard, you're able to play Mike Tyson's Punch-Out and use your fist instead of a controller, and it did not work anything near like that.
No, it was a piece of crap.
It was a piece of crap.
Yeah,
but it was cool because you get to feel like a cyborg when you had it on. That was the only benefit.
That's hilarious. That's too funny. Also out this week, and this will segue into our later conversation, is Flight.
Yes.
Which marks the return to live action for director Robert Zemeckis after, 12 years?
Yeah.
Yeah, Castaway was his last live action movie.
Castaway. Yeah. So that's late. So literally almost exactly 12 years, because that was December of 2000.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow. So I finally caught this earlier this week, and as soon as I watched it, I was like, man, I just want to go out and have a beer. What, too soon? So this was a movie that made me very uncomfortable.
Yes.
And it was intense. It was emotionally draining. I posted this, I believe, on my Facebook, and I tweeted it too. I said that you do not go into this movie expecting a feel-good experience.
No.
Yeah. And the trailers will absolutely send you in the wrong direction.
Which I think was great, actually.
I do agree with that, yeah.
Yeah.
But people are going to show up expecting something that the trailers imply, and it is not that at all. I wouldn't call this a great movie.
Yeah.
But I would recommend it.
Now, why wouldn't you call it a great movie?
Well, I try to keep my powder dry on calling movies great. I mean that's part of it because I feel like a movie needs to age a little bit, but I don't feel that actually let's give people a sense of the story, and you know there might be some spoilers here, but we'll just have to work through it. The thrust of it is it's Denzel Washington is a hero pilot who saves a plane from crashing in kind of in a 1 in a million maneuver.
Right.
He managed to save however many lives on this airplane, and so he's a hero. But he is also deeply, tragically flawed because he's a slave to his various addictions, primarily alcohol and drugs. That's the gist of it.
Yeah.
So we are watching for two and a half hours as this character, crumbles in front of us.
Yeah.
And I mean, I said it before. It's not fun to watch in that sense. It's gripping. It absolutely keeps you engaged, but it's not fun.
Right.
I had somebody leave a comment and tell me how they were angry the whole time they were watching the movie.
At Denzel's character?
At Denzel's character.
Yeah, there were a lot of people, a lot of vocal reactions that were stirred up in the screening that Brian and I went to. Like, there were people clapping and gasping and, people that were, like, literally saying, no,
Yeah. Yeah, I that was something that I noticed was, I felt like this movie did a good job of making alcohol almost like a villain.
Yeah.
It was shot in close-up sometimes. And Denzel, you'd see Denzel looking at it, and you'd be like, "Don't you do it?"
Yes,
and if you would reach out for it, you would just, our audience, like Sean was saying, would just no, very vocal about it, and I thought that was pretty successful, actually.
Yeah, I can see where people wouldn't love this movie. There were a lot of people that I work with that were just kind of like, "Yeah, it was pretty good, but it was kind of hokey." Personally, I loved the movie. It's not as repeatable as the other Robert Zemeckis movies are, because it lacks that sort of fantastical storybook element that like Forrest Gump and Back to the Future and all those kind of movies have. But I was completely tracking with the character, and I think he did a really great job of like when, for example, there was that scene, it was shortly after he leaves the hospital, and it just cuts to him and he's drinking a Budweiser while he's driving around in the middle of the day.
Yeah.
Like, I think Zemeckis did a really great job of sort of exploiting those more ridiculous moments, because at least for me, like, it instilled this reaction of like, that's crazy. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing driving around drinking a beer like, you're going to get caught. And then, like, from then on, it just kept getting worse and worse and worse, and he kept making wrong decision after wrong decision after wrong decision, to the point where, near the end, you're like, nah, after everything that's happened, there's no way he's going to do it. There's no way. Holy crap, he's doing it again. And
just to jump in here, I mean, there's a point near the end where he's presented with a choice about whether to drink or not.
Right.
And you guys know what I'm talking about. He chooses. He makes the right choice, but the camera lingers.
Yeah.
On the bottle, and as the longer it lingers, that it's going to get that momentary high is going to get punctured.
Yep.
I mean, and it does. And Yeah, it was tough to. I was going to say it was tough to stomach. You know, it really. I felt this gnawing in the pit of my stomach as I was watching it because of that, because it was just very, very hard to watch.
Right.
But I think this is a performance movie, and I think it's interesting that Zemeckis made this his return to live action. It's this $30 million character study.
Yeah.
You know, other than the big sort of effect sequence at the beginning. That, by the way, and the way the plane crash sequence is orchestrated and staged, I mean, really terrifying.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I don't like flying as it is.
Yeah.
So seeing that, you know,
it was almost enough to make me never want to fly again.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
But Brian, in your review on your blog, like you mentioned how Zemeckis, like, he uses the camera as the narrator, almost as like the audience point of view.
Yeah, you know, and we are obviously, I think it's become clear from this episode and other episodes, we're Zemeckis fanboys.
Yeah.
And I'm a big fan of his filmmaking style. And what Sean is saying is I'm a big fan of the way that he moves the camera, where he doesn't do a lot of cutting. He'll just sort of let the camera move without you noticing that it's moving, because he's revealing something to you once he wants you to see it.
Right.
Like there's a moment at the beginning where this woman falls to the ground and the camera's spinning around her, but that's not just to spin around her, it's actually slowly revealing a door in the background, and then you see a shadow under the door, and you're supposed to have a reaction because you don't want someone to be at that door. And I remember thinking like,
yeah.
You know, I love this. And there's another moment also, which isn't really a spoiler, but Denzel's been drinking, and someone walks into the room, and you see him, and you're disappointed to see him drinking, and she's disappointed. And the camera, again, is moving, but it's so subtle you're not thinking about it. But what it's really doing is it's pulling back to reveal in good time that there's 12 more beer bottles on the table.
Yeah.
So you're supposed to feel like, oh, it's even worse than I thought. And I really appreciate that sort of storytelling. But I also want to build on that and say that overall, I did like this movie a lot. And it's an interesting movie, and I can understand why some people might feel sort of weird about it, because it really is a gritty, smaller movie about an addict that was made by a blockbuster filmmaker.
Right.
So I think his tendencies, which we are fans of, and we can maybe even more easily digest because we're like, oh, well, that's just what he does. And some people might be like, well, that's not what this story would, you know, what I want to see for this story. I wouldn't disagree with anyone who says that. And I think, Sean, you said in your review that one of Zemeckis' strengths as a filmmaker is his storybook sort of quality to things, and right. I think that comes into play in this movie in good ways, and also maybe in ways that aren't as good for it. And I think in my review it was mostly positive, but I just want to say a few of the things that did throw me off a little bit. And one of them was a good storybook element, I thought, is there's a moment that I won't spoil, but it involves a door in about the end of the second act, maybe beginning of the third act. I think you guys know what I'm talking about, in a hotel room.
Yeah.
And the way that it's introduced and the way that it's handled is very storybook.
Yeah.
And I really loved it. I thought it was really brilliant, actually, because you hear this knocking and you're like, what? Did I even hear that? Maybe that wasn't even the movie. I don't even know what I'm hearing. And then it becomes something in the film, and I thought that was amazing. And that was Zemeckis at his best. And I thought that was really good for the story. But then I also thought that there was sort of a storybookish quality to the John Goodman character.
Yeah.
That I did not like.
I agree.
And I thought his performance, to steal a word from someone at work, was very showboaty.
Yeah.
And as soon as he's introduced, you know, I think every review I've read so far has said that they thought that the musical cues in this movie were a little on the nose.
Right.
And I don't disagree with them. It didn't bother me for half of them. But at the same time, I think going along with those things, the John Goodman character, the way he's introduced, and then the way that he talks, and he just, you know, sort of bursts his way into the hospital room when Denzel's in there and just like, hey, I got you some porno mags and this and that because I'm the crazy guy, you know, and And also, there's a moment where he comes back in the end, and I felt like our audience was like laughing at everything he did, and I wasn't sure that was the appropriate reaction.
I totally agree with that. Yeah, and I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that goes back again to maybe the storybookish quality that Zemeckis is maybe used to, that maybe not have been always the right sort of tone for this film in particular, or this story in particular.
Right. Yeah,
so
when he came back
those would
end,
be my
that
criticism.
Me too.
Yeah. Oh, so yeah, you guys both. Yeah.
Well, I feel like, and maybe this is deliberate, but I felt like towards the end there, the film was a little bit confused about how it wanted the audience to feel about Denzel Washington's character.
Yep, I 100% agree.
Right, because as we go into the sort of the climactic scene, I was that's literally how I was feeling, where I was like, I'm not sure whose side I'm on here.
Yeah,
because really there's basically a climactic. It's not a courtroom, but it's like a testimony scene,
right?
And you basically have a bunch of bad people,
right?
Because you've got so you've got Bruce Greenwood as the rep from the pilots union, and Don Cheadle as the lawyer, who they've essentially colluded to cover up this major criminal action. You have Denzel Washington, who is a criminal in this case,
right?
And then you have Denzel being questioned by Melissa Leo, who is Melissa Leo, and so you just hate her. I don't. Is it just me? I just have a visceral dislike of Melissa Leo. I don't know what it is about her. Maybe it's the fighter, but regardless, I mean, it's you're at cross purposes a little bit, and I don't know if that's a failing of the film. I mean, maybe that was by intent, the idea that, well, sometimes life is just crappy,
Mm-hmm.
But I did feel a little bit of a mixture of emotions there at the end. Also, did you guys notice how they made Bruce Greenwood look like Sully Sullenberger?
I did not. Oh. I didn't think about that. I see that now that you say that, but I didn't.
To me, that was. I feel like that was a very deliberate choice.
That's funny. Well, I want to ask a question to you guys too. There's a pretty much another main character that's not in any of the trailers. The girl.
Yeah, that's right.
I think her name's Nicole.
Yeah. Kelly Riley.
Who plays a fellow addict.
Yeah.
Going through her.
She was really good. I really liked her.
I thought so too. Yeah, I was just curious what you guys thought, because I mean, she's completely hidden from.
Yeah. I felt like it was a little clunky how her character was introduced, because we're introduced to her as this plane crash story is happening,
right?
Yeah,
and that felt very awkward to me.
It was abrupt. It was almost like they cut a reel from another film in all of a sudden.
Yeah. I mean, I wonder if it would have been. I personally feel like we should have been introduced to her through Denzel Washington's eyes.
Yeah, I think I was a little more forgiving of that because of that scene in the stairwell with that cancer patient guy.
Right. Yeah,
because he even says, sometimes, for a reason, like people are just thrown in your path for a reason.
Yeah,
and I got the analogy that he was giving, so I was a little more like, okay, like I accept, how this is going to play out because of that scene, basically.
Okay.
But I think this movie would not have been nearly as good if it wasn't Denzel Washington.
No.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And he has been so consistently great that, like, great is now the norm for him.
Yeah.
Yet
him showing up.
Yeah. Yet he really, even still, like, he impressed me and he surprised me in this movie. Specifically when he's trying to hug his son.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And it's this really uncomfortable thing where, like, he is, again, don't want to give too much away, but he's pretty loaded, and his son is not that happy to see him. And
yeah,
just that hug is like, man, this guy is just a force.
The film is very, very similar, both thematically and also structurally, to Crazy Heart.
I haven't seen Crazy Heart.
Really.
Oh, yeah, well, I mean, you know
Bridges
of it,
movie,
though.
Right?
Yeah,
Jeff Bridges, yeah.
Yeah.
Jeff Bridges won an Oscar for that. I mean, it's if you were to watch that now, you could just put a piece of tracing paper over it.
Really?
Yeah, in terms of most of the major beats and whatnot are very apparent here. And I'm not saying this movie ripped that off, but I mean, it's when you have a story of an addict that there's probably limited avenues that you can take that, you know.
Yeah.
So both Crazy Heart and Flight follow that same format, and I think it's the same thing. I think with Crazy Heart, it's made more watchable by Jeff Bridges' performance. I mean, he deservedly won an Oscar for that. I thought he was fantastic in that movie.
Yeah, a testament to the actors when you can still root for a character who has just done nothing but make all the wrong decisions.
Exactly.
All the bad choices.
Exactly, yeah. So Flight kind of marks a return to live action for Robert Zemeckis. I would hope this is not a brief detour. I hope that he continues, and I hope we get to see some of the big canvas movies that he's done in the past.
Yes.
And given that, like Brian said, we're all kind of Robert Zemeckis fanboys. I feel like this is a good movies that matter segment where we can look back at the filmography of Robert Zemeckis and kind of pick some of our favorites in there. So, Sean, we'll start with you.
Well, Back to the Future trilogy, obviously.
Yeah, that's the gimme.
Yeah, that's the gimme. They're all so great. I think I find myself going back to Castaway a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, that's another. It's a performance movie for Tom Hanks, but like what has been said about in the Flight discussion, the camera is the audience's point of view, and it reveals things only when it's necessary, and in such a subtle and thoughtful way. When Tom Hanks when he's rescued from the island and he's back in the hotel room, and the camera just pans around, and it's like the buffet of seafood.
Yeah.
And lobster and crab and all this kind of stuff, and it just like pans around the room. And then like these nice moments about how he keeps like flicking the light on and off, like these luxuries that he didn't have while he was stuck on that island.
The thing about Castaway, this beautiful subtlety to me is just the title. The fact that it's not Castaway, it's Cast Away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2 words.
And the ending, I think the ending of that movie is like the best ending ever
in the history of man.
And it's interesting because, like, I bring this up a lot whenever there's like an in-depth film discussion, that there are those people that look at the ending of Castaway and need to know which way Tom Hanks goes, and then there are those who watch Castaway and get it and can draw their own conclusion, and whatever that conclusion is, it's something that is meaningful to them.
It's like the end of Inception. People want to know, does the top fall over or not?
Exactly, and I think that's a real testament to the filmmakers, as Zemeckis as a storyteller, to to engage you in a story and end it on a beat like that, that provokes that kind of thought.
Brian, what about you?
Well, I didn't just pick one, but I as I was looking over the films, I mean, it's Back to the Future.
Back to the Future.
We're all just gonna have to. Yeah. That's always going to be our go-to.
Yeah.
It'll just be like our one-word answer to a lot of things on the show. Well, Back to the Future. So, but I was looking at all these films, and I was noticing that as varied as they are, he's really great at. And I've said enough about the camera work because I could honestly go on all night about that. But is the world building?
Right.
He's all these movies are so like Roger Rabbit, obviously.
Yeah. Great.
And I was thinking about Roger Rabbit, and I thought it was really funny where it seems like now movies, try so hard to be edgy. And when they are edgy, it's because they're forcing themselves to be edgy. And Roger Rabbit is just kind of naturally edgy in a weird way for being a PG Disney movie.
Yeah.
There's like this weird, unhinged, sort of dangerous feel to it. I mean, do you guys know what I mean? Like,
I totally do.
it's very funny, like Toontown. You know, where if you're just going to pitch a movie and say that there's this place where animated characters live, you would picture this nice sort of fun, zippy little place. But it's not. It's scary.
Yeah.
You know, and things move too fast, and it's sort of, you know, when the human enters it, he almost gets run over by things, and there's trains and crazy people chasing him, and he's falling off of buildings, and
part of what makes Roger Rabbit work is the fact that you have somebody like Bob Hoskins who's playing it absolutely straight.
Right.
He never breaks the reality of his character, which is so crucial when you watch that movie.
Right.
Yeah, and another moment that I wrote down for that film was the moment where Judge Doom, you know, the villain Christopher Lloyd plays, demonstrates his power as a judge by executing an animated shoe.
Oh, that's horrifying!
Right,
and he drops it into that vat of, you know, acid.
Yeah,
the dip, and and like you said, it's played completely straight in this kids movie, so to speak, and you're watching this thing die.
Scream for its life too.
Yeah, and it's like crying and looking, you know, for help from someone, and it totally sets the tone for that movie where it's like, okay, you know, we're dealing with Mickey Mouse and all this, but there is real danger here. And then even the third act of that film is crazy scary.
Yeah.
when we see what Christopher Lloyd actually looks like.
Yeah, well, and when we still think he's a human, and he gets run over by a steamroller, and he's screaming for his life.
Yeah, that's right.
But I mean, all that to say, I'm talking about how scary it is, but I love that movie. I loved it when I was a kid. I still love it now. I think it's a really cool little universe.
Yeah, I actually appreciate it more now because of what a tricky balancing act it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, again, you use the term world building. I think I think Roger Rabbit is an exemplar of that.
Yeah.
I mean, he creates this alternate reality, L.A., you know, in the 1930s, 1940s, and we have to buy into that in order for the story to work.
Right.
You know, we have to buy that Jessica Rabbit playing patty cake with this guy is the biggest, you know, problem that could happen, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you think of that scene where Roger is looking at those pictures.
That's right.
Of his wife playing patty cake.
Yeah.
That's right.
and it's funny because when you think about it, it's not lit brightly. It's lit like a film noir.
Right.
I mean, it's very shadowy and dark. And then when he sees him and he flips out, you're in this dark scene, so to speak. And then Roger busts through the window because he's so upset, and he leaves an impression of his entire body, like a cartoon. So I mean, it's like really silly, but it's like in a sort of serious looking scene.
That's right.
It's amazing. I mean, Roger Rabbit's a great movie. And lastly, I just want to add one more thing.
Yeah, go for it.
The same thing that I'm saying. As I was going to say the same thing about Forrest Gump, where what you just brought up, where, you know, it's recreating a lot of history, but it's Forrest Gump's history.
Yeah.
You know, it only belongs in that film, and there's something that still has a lot of weight to it and, you know, gravity, but at the same time it is fantasy, which is, even though we're in the Vietnam War and we're seeing a lot of, you know, of those realistic things from history, which is even in the 80s when you're getting a little more current and he's doing his jogging across America thing. There's something that feels realistic about it in a way, but is still fantastical.
Right.
And it doesn't feel stupid. You know, it just completely works.
Yeah. I think Gump is a movie that I didn't like as much when I was younger. I appreciate it more now, and I think part of that is just my own. As I get older, I'm aware of that passage of time and how fleeting moments are, and
right.
that's a big part of what that movie is about.
Yeah,
is this idea of people who wander in and out of your life,
right,
and what kind of impact you make, and that's something that I'm. And the other thing actually is that a lot of the pop culture references just completely went over my head when I was a kid.
Right.
You know, I was, in hindsight, I was very sheltered because like the Elvis references and a lot of that stuff just completely flew right past me.
Right.
So it wasn't until much later or the smiley face thing on, you know, the smiley face shirt. So I would definitely include Forrest Gump in any best of. I was looking just looking at the totality of the things that he's made. I was really impressed with how divergent it is and how diverse it is, because you have things like Beowulf, which is the motion capture movie that he did with Ray Winstone,
right?
And then you have Contact with Jodie Foster and Matthew McConaughey, which Contact was not necessarily a great movie, but I appreciated it in a way that I probably wouldn't have other movies. And then there was Death Becomes Her, which is not a good movie at all.
No,
I would argue that's probably the worst movie he's ever done.
But you look at that, because that was the movie he did before. Was that before Forrest Gump?
Yes, that was just before Forrest Gump, yeah.
Yeah, and you kind of look at that as like he was just, testing out special effects that he was later going to perfect.
It does feel like a VFX show reel.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the special effects are great.
I think what really confused me is that by the end of it, how, like, the big twist about how it's like this, secret society, and how everybody in Hollywood, like, doesn't really die. They just join this secret club. So, like, Marilyn Monroe and James Dean and all these people are still alive, really.
Right.
Like, to me, that was a much more interesting story to tell than the 88 minutes that led up to it.
Right. But we're actually winding down here, so before we run out of too much time, I wanted to spend some time doing some trivia to test your wits.
Boom.
We've spent some time talking about Robert Zemeckis. Now I want you to put your money where your mouth is. So here we go. We have 5 questions about
Brian
Robert
is the
Zemeckis.
2-time defending champion currently.
Brian has come out on top for the last 2. So let's see if somebody can wrest that throne away from him.
I'll take that challenge.
All right.
What are our avatars this week?
This week, your avatars are action figures.
Ooh.
He-Man.
G.I. Joe.
There we go.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay, here we go.
This is the non-Zemeckis sequel to a Robert Zemeckis movie.
He-Man.
G.I. Joe.
Yes. Brian, go ahead.
Jewel of the Nile.
Damn you.
Wow, very nice.
Yeah,
Romancing the Stone, of course, was the first film in that series, I guess we'd call it. And that's actually the movie that allowed him to do Back to the Future.
Right.
Because it did so well that suddenly, nothing succeeds faster in Hollywood than success. So one door opens and more open for you. Have you seen Jewel of the Nile, by the way, you guys? Either of you?
I have not. I've seen Romancing the Stone, but not Jewel of the Nile.
I like Romancing the Stone.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I do like that one.
Back when, what's her name? Kathleen Turner was still a woman.
Okay. Well, she only played a man on Friends.
Oh, well, very convincing.
I love Brian's reaction. Okay.
Okay, everybody.
It's like you're going to have dinner with Kathleen Turner tomorrow, Brian. You're just trying to avoid an awkward conversation.
Just like, not helping.
Kathleen? No, Kathleen, I'm almost done with the podcast. One second.
This filmmaker, who is also known for revolutionary special effects, shares a birthday with Robert Zemeckis.
G.I. Joe?
Yes.
Peter Jackson?
Close, but no.
He-Man.
Yes.
James Cameron.
Close, but no.
G.I. Joe?
Yes.
George Lucas?
Yes.
Hey.
George Lucas, that's right. The very first television script that Robert Zemeckis and his partner Bob Gale sold was for what TV series?
G.I. Joe?
Yes.
Tales from the Crypt?
Too late. But
He-Man.
you're in the right vein. Yeah, Brian.
Amazing Stories?
Still too late.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh.
That's Sean squeezing out a turd.
I'm ready to guess again.
Yes.
Is something called like Night Gallery?
Close. It was The Night Stalker.
Oh, okay.
Which is It's actually called Kolchak the Night Stalker. It starred Darren McGavin as a reporter who chases supernatural stories. So they sold that script in 1975.
Huh.
Yeah. Okay, number 4. Here we go. Robert Zemeckis used to be married to an actress named Mary Ellen Trainor. Mary Ellen Trainor appeared in 2 movies that were not part of the same franchise, but she played the same character in 2 movies.
Are they Zemeckis movies?
They're not Zemeckis movies.
G.I. Joe.
Yes. This is kind of an interesting one, actually.
I think I'm thinking of...
She was also, by the way, what you would know her as, she's Robert Zemeckis' ex-wife. She was the psychiatrist in the Lethal Weapon movies.
Yeah.
Right.
She was in Goonies and Back to the Future.
2 movies, 2 unconnected movies where she played the same character.
Yes, Goonies and Back to the Future. She plays the TV reporter, right? Oh, no, she's the mom in Goonies. Damn it.
Yeah.
Well, I remember her being a news reporter, but I don't know what the other film is.
She's in the beginning of Back to the Future. She's on the TV.
Yeah.
Talking about the Libyan terrorists and stuff.
Oh, interesting. I forgot that was her, yeah.
Is she in Die Hard?
Die Hard, that's right. That's one. She plays Gail Wallens.
Yeah. So it's not Back to the Future, then, as a reporter. So it's another reporter.
It is.
Is it Scrooged?
No.
Should I tell you?
No.
Should we keep going, or have we lost?
I don't think you'll ever get it. So,
Glory. She played a television news reporter in Glory.
G.I. Joe.
Yeah.
I concede.
Yeah, go ahead.
The movie is Ricochet.
Ugh.
She actually plays...
I thought it was called Ricochet all these years.
Ricochet? Yeah, she plays the same character, Gail Wallens, in both Die Hard and Ricochet.
Interesting.
Which means that Ricochet and the Die Hard movies are in the same franchise. Are in the same universe.
The same universe?
Yeah. And both of them are actually just the dream of this kid with Down syndrome. Who is it?
Like St. Elsewhere?
Like St. Elsewhere. Yeah, everything is... We're actually part of that universe, too. So
Denzel Washington was in St. Elsewhere.
That's right.
Wow.
Holy crap.
Okay.
All right, do you realize we're tied right now? 1-1?
1-1. 1 question left?
One question left.
One question to rule them.
One question to rule them all.
Hey, Zaki, can you say question number 5 in like a really cool game announcer voice?
Question number 5.
That was good.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, here we go. This is an animated series that Robert Zemeckis executive produced in the mid 1990s.
He-Man.
And yes,
the Back to the Future animated series.
Not that.
In what era what year did you say?
This was in the mid 90s.
Mid 90s.
And I didn't finish the question. It was a horrific animated series. But I mean that literally
in the nicest way possible.
G.I. Joe?
Yes.
No, why would
or should I say a horrific animated horror. Okay, that doesn't sound, but I'm saying horror.
G.I. Joe, wasn't there an animated Tales from the Crypt?
There was.
Wasn't it that?
Yes.
Isn't that the answer?
Yes.
Oh, and I've been dethroned.
So I think that means Sean won this one, right?
Yeah, congratulations.
Nice. Alrighty.
I'm so happy for you.
You son of a...
Okay, awesome. So that concludes our Robert Zemeckis discussion, and that tees us up for next time when we will have plenty more movies and other pop culture flotsam and jetsam to discuss. Before we take off for Parts Unknown, Brian, where can people find you on the internet?
At everythingbrian.blogspot.com.
Now, don't actually spell out Brian with an I.
Yes.
Yeah.
That whole sentence is
It's
my
a very
website.
long, unwieldy URL, yeah. Sean, how about you?
Moosehub.com, and as always, MrBoyProductions.com. Check out our short films.
And the other fun and frivolity that's over there. Make sure you hit like on our brand new Facebook page, facebook.com/MovieFilm Podcast. Hit like, get added there. Again, that helps us out with our metrics. Also, please do write us a review at iTunes. Let people know that you like the show. And if you have any questions or comments, in addition to sending us those at the Facebook page, you can email them at moviefilmpodcast@gmail.com. Again, that's moviefilmpodcast@gmail.com. Go ahead and send your questions and concerns there. You can find me at zakiscorner.com. That's ZAKIS corner.com, as well as at the Huffington Post. I mentioned last time that I have a series of James Bond reviews, retro reviews, as I work my way through the entire series, so that's something that...
Did you say porked?
What?
What did you say? It sounded like you said porked your way through the entire series.
Yes, I porked my way through the...
I just say what I hear.
Well, I meant to say work my way through the entire series, but I might have unintentionally said porked, so...
Zowie.
I did not mean that. But you can look for that there, and of course, Nostalgia Theater goes up every Sunday, so look for that as well. I think that about covers it for this time, so on behalf of my colleagues, Sean Coyle and Brian Hall, my name is Zaki Hassan. This is the Movie Film Podcast. We will see you in 2 weeks. Thanks for listening.
Welcome,